Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and expert on Warner Brothers Discovery. I've done 70 videos on Warner Brothers Discovery. I want you to check out the playlist. You'll see for yourself there's a lot that we've covered. Now, there are going to be massive layoffs coming to Warner Brothers Discovery very soon. As soon as this week, really in their conference call, they announced they were doing it, but there also is some specific coverage from Insider talking about how this week, the week of November 7th, they're expecting to have massive layoffs in the sales department. They have already laid off people in their sales department, but it was very small. Where they expected as much as 30% of 3,000 people to be eliminated, they only eliminated 3% so far. So a lot more cutting to be done. You've probably heard CNN, the division of Warner Brothers Discovery, is going to be making extensive layoffs as well. They are supposed to be finding $100 million worth of cuts, supposedly roughly about 10% of their budget. They're going to lay them off. This is from Puck.News. Can Licht make the cuts? The answer is yes, he will make the cuts. And if he does not make the cuts, the guy who replaces him will make the cuts. There's a tremendous efficiency push going on at Warner Brothers Discovery. They are looking to cut anywhere from $3.5 to $4 billion worth of expenses, and they've been rolling along and cutting them. And actually, we're going to play some of Gunnar Wiedenfeld's, the CFO of Warner Brothers Discovery, his actual words, so you can hear it not just from me, but directly from him. They are cutting, what Gunnar Wiedenfeld explains, anywhere from 11 to 20% of their SG&A. Now, SG&A, if you're not familiar with it, is sales and general administrative expenses, operating expenses, the costs of doing business. They include rent, utilities, marketing and advertising, sales and accounting, management, and administrative salary. If you make movies like Warner Brothers Discovery does, it is the offices and the people that promote and market it. Those are the people that are SG&A. To have cuts to a business of anywhere from 11 to 20% of SG&A is absolutely massive. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up when you like it. The channel has been growing. You guys have been amazing. It really lets me make more videos, and I sincerely do appreciate it. All right, so here's Gunnar Wiedenfeld's. Let's hear what he has to say.
From a high level, and as David said, the opportunity at hand goes well beyond just the synergy capture dollar value. This is a fundamental transformation across and throughout the organization, a refocusing on how WBD is organized, how it's managed, how the teams are incentivized and evaluated, all of which results in an ability to pivot and evolve in this dynamic media ecosystem. And we are starting to see the financial impact materialize. The 11% of SG&A reduction ex-FX in Q3 is an important early proof point. And we are on track for around 20% SG&A reduction in Q4. We've seen great traction on a number of fronts early on. First, in global marketing efforts, such as with television and theatrical releases, House of the Dragon, Elvis, and Black Adam most recently, leveraging the broad footprint of our owned and operated media assets like never before, helping to drive global awareness in a very cost-efficient and effective way.
Okay, listen to Gunnar Wiedenfeld explain the savings in their cut of overhead in the direct-to-consumer.
Cost of revenues increased 22% due to growing programming costs, while SG&A decreased 18% as we continue to take a more measured approach to marketing, as well as better coordinating the utilization of the invaluable promotional firepower of our O&O platforms.
Warner Brothers Discovery insiders are bracing for another round of layoffs the week of November 7th. This round is expected to hit sales support roles as the company looks for $3 billion in cost cuts, which is actually as high as $4 billion. Some are also speculating that the planned streamer combining Discovery Plus with HBO Max will be delayed. Let me tell you something about this. They bring up an interesting point because Discovery Plus and HBO Max are going to be combined into one paid app. And that Zaslav announced just a couple days ago that it's going to be launching in the spring, which is earlier than expected. It is not going to be delayed. The odds of that being happening are, zero, because he just announced that they're doing it. So if they announce they're going to do something, they know it's going to happen. If it's speculative, they'll say, hey, this is speculative. And if they did that, especially with the pressure on the stock price, and they weren't able to launch it when they just said they were going to launch it in spring, that would be very bad for the company, and it would hurt the company, the credibility. It would make it more difficult to do everything that they're trying to do. When you lose credibility, it makes it hard to do things. there's no way that's going to happen. Warner Bros. Discovery insiders are bracing for yet another round of layoffs. 3 sources told Insider expected to start the week of November 7th as leaders of the new company continue their hunt for cost savings. Warner Bros. Discovery already cut 3% of their sales staff through buyouts and layoffs as part of CEO David Zaslav's quest to make the $3 billion in cost cuts promised with Discovery's acquisition of Warner Media. It's actually a merger, was an acquisition. As of a month ago, the company said it expected to reduce its combined U.S. sales force by 1,300, 30% of 3,000 people. That's a lot. But they're going to do it. And how are they going to do it? Because they have already had management evaluate the operation. The guy who came in to manage their sales force is a guy who came from Discovery. So Zaslav and he know each other. So they know what to expect, and they've analyzed it, and they've noticed that, yeah, these people don't produce. And on top of that, the whole structure of it is semi-ridiculous because you've got separate people from CNN selling CNN, then TNT, and all these other things. Not effective, not productive. The company took an aggressive stance in selling during the TV upfront sales period and didn't sell as much as it hoped. It previously downgraded its earnings forecast for 2022 as it deals with challenges to the streaming business and an overall slowdown in ad spending, calling it a transition year. Well, obviously, they just merged 2 gigantic companies together, 10,000 people from Discovery, 30,000 people from Warner Media. That would be a bit of a transition year, especially if they're cutting, 20% of their overhead, which includes everything from staff to, as we said, their rents and things like that. So yeah, it would be a transition. The company missed Wall Street's expectations for revenue in its third quarter earnings report today. So did Paramount. So did all these other companies. Disney's about to announce next week what their results are. We'll see what those are. There's a tremendous economic slowdown. So all of the advertising spending has been cut in all outlets. With the upcoming cuts, sales support areas like marketing, research, and ad ops are expected to bear the brunt, the 3 insiders said. Layoffs were inevitable as part of the acquisition, but sales staff cuts have already caused concern among insiders and partners about the company's ability to service its advertising customers. Well, the ones where there are less of, supposedly. Further dampening morale, salespeople are also expecting their all-important year-end bonuses. Oh, they're going to get massacred on that. To take a hit, per one of the insiders. They should expect that. It's a similar story over at WBD unit CNN, where the new CEO, Chris Licht, has been leading a cost-cutting exercise, and more layoffs are coming. They sure are. A second insider said Warner Bros. Discovery was closely scrutinizing vendor contracts as it tries to find cost savings wherever possible. They're just hammering everyone, this person said. Questions are also swirling about the company's new streaming service that will combine Discovery Plus with HBO Max. Some Warner Bros. Discovery insiders have expressed doubt, though, that it'll meet the earlier time frame because of the massive task involving combining the 2 streamers with separate tech backbones, which they are consolidating into one tech backbone, of course, and the separate sets of licensing agreements for their content offerings. An industry insider with knowledge speculated the company will end up pushing back the launch while it waits to see. Did these seem like a wait to see kind of crew over at Warner Bros. Discovery? I don't really think so. Supposedly they want to see the impact of Netflix's and Disney's own ad-supported streamers launching this year. Warner Bros. Discovery already has an advertising-supported tier for HBO Max, and as they said in the conference call, they were surprised how many people did not take them up on the ad-supported tier to downgrade from the higher, more costly version of HBO Max. They are already testing these things. They know what they're doing, and they would never announce that they're going to launch in spring of 2023 if they weren't already set up to do it. The other exciting thing they actually mentioned was they're planning on launching in 2023, which maybe they will do, WB free. That's what I'd call it, WB free. A free version like Pluto of the combined app or just some of their older content. But it'll be interesting to see what they're doing. But they did announce that they're going to do a massive launch of a whole separate free streaming platform in 2023 as part of the conference call. Can Chris Licht make the cuts from Puck.News? He's going to make the cuts because he has to make the cuts. They had told Chris Licht when he came onto CNN, supposedly, there was not going to be a result of mass layoffs at CNN. So even though the company had $50 billion in debt, they said, well, we're not going to have layoffs at CNN. However, as time went on and as results came in, during the course of their review, Zaslav and his CFO, Gunnar Wiedenfels, asked Licht to engage in a hypothetical financial engineering exercise. Sources with direct knowledge of the matter told this author, if they were to cut costs at the company, how would he manage to achieve savings? By the way, they ask all of them this. All of them get this question, whether they're existing managers or new guys that they bring in. And if you don't have good information for them, if you can't give them good feedback on how you're going to cut costs, why do they need you as a manager? To just get somebody else. Over time, the target number that Zaz and Gunnar were asking for became larger. The exercise became less hypothetical. Then at last month's staring down the barrel of a recession and another disappointing earnings report, Zaz and Gunnar gave Licht a direct order. He needs to cut $100 million from CNN's budget. Zaz's team might argue that such an edict is financially responsible amid the current economic environment, but nevertheless, it is significant. The figure, which CNN representatives declined to comment on, likely translates to almost 10% of CNN's overall budget. Sources familiar with the financials told this author. You may have also heard that HBO canceled Westworld. Well, why would they cancel something like Westworld? Well, again, it's the same strategy. If people aren't keeping their subscriptions, or if people aren't going to the platform for whatever the content is, it's fundamentally a waste of money. They're in no position to waste money, but they also just don't want to waste money. If they're going to spend all this money on producing content and building their libraries and building their intellectual properties, why in God's name should they support something like Westworld? It would be nice if they had a 5th season to wrap up whatever the end part of the story was. Apparently, they kind of didn't get to do that, even though the end of the 4th season didn't really end apparently on a cliffhanger. Ratings for the drama, this is coming from Hollywood Reporter, why HBO canceled Westworld. Ratings dropped from 12 million to 4 million. That's a disaster. They're not holding people's interest. If you can't even hold the people that you have, why are they going to spend money supporting a program like this? However, maybe this is good news, maybe this is not good news, but Westworld core cast will still be paid for season 5 after cancellation, coming from Deadline. The reason they're going to get paid for something like this is because it's going to be per their contracts, and they have some great agents to be able to negotiate something like this. So even though season 5 is canceled for Westworld because it did not perform, the main cast will still get paychecks. Unbelievable, yet true. That said, the additional cost of producing the show will not be wasted on a series that apparently less and less and less people were interested in. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.